The Penguin series is supposed to lead directly into the events of the Batman Part 2, but who will be the one going toe-to-toe with Batman? Welcome to Haynes for Heroes, I'm Alex Haynes, and if it's a movie or TV show about superheroes, you know I'm all over it. And I'm all over this debate about who will be the main villain of the Batman Part 2. So here are my 5 picks for who may be stepping up to bat, pun intended. Potential spoilers ahead. At number 1 we have Clayface.
Very good, Detective. It is I, Basil Carlo.
Ever since the Batman Part 2 has been announced, there's been a bunch of rumors all over the internet about Clayface being the main villain of this movie. And since this Batman universe is supposed to be more realistic, this version of Clayface most likely won't be a giant clay monster. He's probably going to resemble something more along the lines of Clayface from the Batman the Caped Crusader series. Which personally I'm just like, I want a giant clay monster. But either way, I would still have fun with Clayface being the villain of this movie, just because we never got Clayface in a live-action Batman movie before, and you know, it's something new. At number 2, we have Scarecrow.
No one's gonna hurt you.
Of course they are!
Crane?
No, Scarecrow.
In the Penguin series, we were introduced to the character Julian Rush, who's a therapist for Sophia Falcone, and many people speculated that he is the one that becomes the Scarecrow. And there is some validity to these claims because Julian Rush is a psychologist, he does have a machine that forces people to relive their most traumatic experiences, and most shockingly, and this is something I even missed in my first watch through, in episode 4 we see in Julian's office objects that look awfully similar to Scarecrow's mask and claws. But personally, I don't see Julian Rush becoming the Scarecrow. I actually see him being the psychologist of the true Scarecrow, Jonathan Crane, who will eventually go crazy from the experiments and steal Julian's mask and claws and use it for himself. If Scarecrow were to be the villain of the next Batman movie, I think that would be really cool because one, I don't think Scarecrow had enough time to shine in the Batman Begins movie, and also I think Scarecrow would be a good villain for this version of Batman to learn how to control his fears. At number 3 we have Hugo Strange.
It will be my legacy, a monument to your failure. And if you try to stop me, I guarantee everyone will know your secret.
This is another villain that many fans claim that Julian Rush will eventually become, just because he's a psychologist. But once again, I don't think that's the case. At the most, I think Julian Rush might be an associate of Hugo Strange, but not Hugo Strange himself. But honestly, Hugo Strange would be a really cool villain to have in the next Batman movie because he's the type of character that would help the development of the Bruce Wayne persona for Batman. This version of Bruce Wayne is still very young and angry about what happened to his parents, and his entire personality is just Batman. And a villain like Hugo Strange, who's a master psychologist, would be able to make the connections between Batman and Bruce Wayne, like, they're both very dark and moody. Maybe they're the same guy. And that could force Batman to adopt the billionaire playboy personality that we all know and love, having parties, sleeping with a bunch of people, just being a reckless dude. And Hugo Strange is another character whose previous live-action portrayal from the Gotham series didn't give him enough time to shine, and I feel like he deserves a bigger spotlight. At number 4 we have the Penguin.
I mean, that's the thing about family. Oz, it's your strength. Oz, when you, it drives you. Fuck if it don't make you weak, too.
This is my favorite choice to be the main villain of the next Batman movie because the series does a perfect job of setting him up that way. Most of the criminals in Gotham are already working for him, and the Penguin has ways to get the support of the people, like how he did in Crown Point when he turned the lights back on and gave all the struggling people jobs. And this would be a cool thing to see the Batman overcome because it would force him to use his Bruce Wayne persona more, to become a philanthropist and use his wealth to help the people of Gotham so that way they wouldn't have to turn to criminals like the Penguin. And it would also be great to see Batman break every single bone in the Penguin's body for what he did to Victor. I'll never forgive him for that. At number 5 we have the Court of Owls.
We are, and always have been, the sons and daughters of Gotham's wealthiest. We know far better than the rabble what's best for our city.
The Court of Owls is hinted at in the Batman and the Penguin series through the corruption of the wealthy elite in Gotham. And if the Court of Owls were to be the main antagonist in the next Batman movie, they can frame it in a way where they were the ones that allowed people like the Riddler and the Penguin to just go wild on the city, helping them gain more control over Gotham. Personally though, I feel like the Court of Owls should be saved for like the final Batman movie, only because their influence in Gotham is so great in the Batman lore, and you don't even realize it. But based on all the hints we've been getting, it looks like the Court of Owls will be the main antagonist in the next Batman movie. Like, that's the most likely scenario. And if that really is the case, I'll be a little disappointed, but I'll get over it because I already know the movie's gonna be good. I'm just gonna trust the process. But who do you think will be the main villain in the Batman Part 2? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, throw a batarang at the like button and then click on the boxes right here, and I'll see you in a bit.